Hey everybody, just Dead Nuance here, and today I'm going to be showing you the one cheese I use to get into Masters League. This cheese is only effective, this cheese can only be used by Terran. It's effective against all three races, although it is most effective against Protoss. Next, I would say it's second most effective against Terran, Zerg. It's second most effective against Zerg, and least effective against Terran. The loading screen here is pretty rough, so I skipped a little second there, and we're getting into the game. Always say GLHF, just because you're cheesing doesn't mean you have to have bad manner while you do it. And the first thing you want to do is produce an SCV to go build a supply depot. You're going to want to build 2 supply depots eventually, and wall off that front, because this is a cheese, you don't want people scouting you, and that's why this is most effective against Protoss, because they have the worst scouting. The strategy is pretty simple. It's a 5 barracks rush, it's an all-in. You are going to take all of your SCVs at 3 minutes and 15 seconds, along with all of your Marines, and you're going to attack them. Here we have the second supply depot. In terms of changing it up when facing Terrans or facing Protosses or facing Zergs, when facing Zerg, you really just want to hide your units better because they have an Overlord Scout. You want to keep them in your base instead of rallying them to the front. And against Terran, you're going to want to make sure you have some Marines against the wall so that you don't get Reaper harassed. And so that the Reapers don't scout you as well. It's pretty much standard in TVT at this point that you're going to harass people with Reapers. Reaper harass is pretty standard, so you got to avoid that. Zerg, it's mostly just avoiding them scouting you with the Overseer, because if they do, they're going to mass Banelings, and there's not much you can do about that. Protoss has the least ability to respond. You've tried to move. That's great. There's a little wall in there. Nice. Quick 50 points. Now, you're going to want to build those 4 barracks, make sure they're behind your mineral line, so that nobody scouts them, in case... It makes it very difficult to scout them anyways. If he scans, he won't see them, because he's not going to scan behind that part of your base. Here we go. And so you're going to want to get them to mass produce. Now, you want to have a few Marines from one of your barracks rallying to the front so that you can attack any units who come and try and scout you, so they don't see you, that you don't have a second, that you don't have an expansion. But you're also going to want to rally those 4 barracks to somewhere else so that they can't be seen. Because if they show up to your base and you have, 10 or 15 Marines, they're going to know something's up. So that's the standard rally point. Don't worry, I will adjust that later. I know it looks like I'm rallying them all there, but I will change it. Yeah, you're going to want to get to Orbital. You're going to want to keep those mule production going. Once you attack with all of your Marines and your SCVs, the Orbital is going to be the only unit you have left. The Orbital is going to be the only thing keeping your supply going. You're going to want to use them to keep producing mules so that you can keep sending Marines to refuel your to reinforce your army. And here you go. You're putting the Marines a little bit back. Even a little bit further back would have been better. There's always little ways to improve this. I've actually tried to see if getting gas and using a reactor would have been efficient, but it isn't. It doesn't get you anything faster. It gets you pretty much exactly the same result in the same time. So just a little bit of waiting. We only got about 9 seconds before we're going to attack here. I should have built a second supply depot here, but I didn't, unfortunately. It was a mistake on my part. And it's going to supply cap me a bit, but as you'll see in this game, it turns out pretty well. And this is idealistically how it turns out. This is a diamond level opponent, I believe, and he is not prepared for this attack. The one thing you're going to want to do with these Marines and these SCVs is make sure you control the SCVs, because they are faster than the Marines. And you don't want them just getting destroyed. You don't want them just running into a wall of fire, getting killed before you can get the Marines there. They're there to serve as a physical buffer between you and your opponent. Between your Marines and their units. Marines are very weak, they get killed quite quickly, but they have pretty good DPS. Especially this early in the game. As you can see here, it's got a few stalkers, but not much. You're going to want to shoot down those pylons. This is the first priority. Also shooting those workers. The stalkers here have greater range than the Marines, so you're going to want to be careful about that. When you're fighting Zerg, the number 1 priority is to immediately destroy either their Baneling nest, if they have that, or their pool. Because if they have a pool, they're going to keep producing Zergs, their Zerglings, and they're going to destroy you. With Protoss, you want to kill as many of their workers as possible, but the big focus is the pylons, because those power their ability to produce new units, and you don't want them producing new units, or units that are strong against Marines anyways. In Terran, again, it's focusing on the units, it's also focusing down their ability to produce military units. That's the big focus, is stopping them from making new units, because if they keep producing Stalkers and Zealots, they're going to defeat you. there's not much you can do about that. Especially there where he's a robo. He has a robo. You don't want to go up against that. Another benefit of having those reinforcements there, reinforcements coming, is that you can sandwich units so that they can't out-micro you. Here you can see it's quite effective. And a lot of this is micro. That's the big part of it that gets better, that you get better at. There we go. Those units are going down so quick. And that's it. That's the basic strategy. He's going to GG pretty soon here. There's not much else for him to do. You got those SCVs with you. This is idealistically how it plays out. The biggest things you have to worry about is if they have mass banelings or if they have a siege tank. Those are the big things. Or with Protoss, I suppose, you have to worry about them having sentries where they can just wall off their front until they have units. It's okay. You can usually micro your way out of that as long as they don't scout you too early. Like I said, this isn't all-in. It is a cheese, and so they're going to get away with it pretty quickly. Here we go. And for some reason, he's still not GGing. I don't know why. He's taking his time. There we go. There's the GG. Anyways, I'm going to show you the build order real quick. If you want to just check that. If you're confused about anything, you can look at the build order here. Otherwise, just watch the video. I hope you enjoyed it. It's a very quick video. Once again, you can see my little Masters logo. He was in diamond, which is nice. And that's it. Oh, sorry, forgot to show you that. I'm going to show you my quick build order. Very simple video. Sorry about the production quality. This is just a quick little video I want to make for the fans, for anybody who hasn't seen this strategy before. And that's it. This is Just Add Nuance signing out.